Good morning, YouTube. The other day, April and I went and saw Twisters with everybody at the drive-in.
That was so fun.
It was awesome,
Right.
but it was one big Dodge commercial of Dodges and Rams that you cannot buy today. But before we get into that, April, what did you think of the sequel to Twisters?
It wasn't about that kind of twister. I don't know, it was cool, it was interesting. I just didn't really believe. I don't know, can we do spoiler alerts?
Oh,
Is
sure, yeah,
that
sorry. If you
a
haven't seen it
thing?
yet, obviously, yeah. Turn it off if you haven't seen it yet, yes.
But it was a little intense on the young girl saves the day and she's the almighty, all-powerful, knows everything about tornadoes.
Another one of those Mary Sue types, just knows everything and just knows where the tornado is going to be
Mary
immediately.
Sue?
That's what they talk about, how it's just this invincible character,
Right.
Captain Marvel, or in the new Star Wars, the Daisy Ridley character.
Yeah.
They kind of had that, but I wasn't offended by it, you know?
Right.
I wasn't okay, this is the plot armor and everything else is just focusing around her being the bestest thing ever. Because they gave everybody a lot of screen time. They weren't putting down men to favor
Right.
her. She was fine.
Yeah,
You know?
but it didn't truly grasp on and believe the story 100%.
Right.
And then the main
What's not believable about Tyler, the YouTuber tornado
main
wrangler?
character, Tyler the Wrangler.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was interesting too, because his character was just so over the top, so crazy, just not humble at all. And then all of a sudden at the end, he turns into this nice, warm guy that you want to fall in love with. And I'm just how does that character transition actually happen? So that, but it was a
Yeah.
cool, interesting movie. The original.
There was a
that.
character in her named Wizard as well. Even though he didn't work directly with Tyler, the tornado wrangler YouTuber, it was still, it was kind of this is very hitting close to home
Yes.
here. And then there's another part where I think he said to the blonde
Right.
young gal, play your cards right and you can be in a YouTube video with me or something like that, which... City Girl is what he called her. So yeah, I brought City Girl to
Yeah.
Kansas to make YouTube videos with me. So it's I found it quite amusing in that
Yeah,
sense.
it's based off your life.
Yeah, pretty much the same story though as the original Twister with some twists, I suppose. But yeah, as far as the moments of the opening Twister from years before that sets
Right.
up the story, and then there's the action Twisters in the middle, and the big climactic one that's going to start. Pretty much the same thing.
It was cool and interesting. The last 10 minutes were the best part. It kind of was a little slow. for me,
Right.
but it was interesting. And why would they use cars that you can't buy anymore, any of them?
You notice that.
In
So,
there.
yes, the vehicles in Twisters.
Right.
So, when they got the big funding from the corporate overlords, they got a fleet of Dodges because it is one big sponsored Dodge commercial. And I wonder how much they chipped in for this because obviously it is a massive Dodge commercial. But it is interesting. Let's say they chipped in $10 million. Let's say $50 million towards this.
Right.
They're all Dodges in the film that you cannot buy anymore, like you said.
And I would think they'd use some sort of flagship Dodge or their new electric Challenger, right? Is that coming out? Did they announce that?
They have unveiled it,
teased
obviously.
it, announced
but yeah,
it.
when they were filming it, they were using cars they had available in the last couple of years, and that is all Hemi vehicles. So you have the Hemi SRT, Grand Cherokees, or the Durangos, or whatever, and then the big hero truck is a white TRX that gets flipped and rolled and knocked in tornadoes, but it has the supercharged Hemi, the Hellcat motor, and over 700 horsepower, which people coming out of that movie, you'd say, man, I gotta have that truck. It can take anything. It took multiple naders
Right.
and hit and rolled everything. It can do it all. Let me go buy one.
Well, you think that was the hero one? I thought the
Tyler's
the
Red
hero
Dodge.
one.
I suppose there's two. Yeah, there's the
Okay.
white TRX that got a lot of action. And then I looked it up. Tyler's is a 2010 Ram Heavy Duty 3500, which has the older Cummins that would actually hold up. Or maybe it's not. Maybe it's the big V8. Either way, it's the older Dodges that were
right.
much, much better.
Well, and it has augers on it to pin you down just in case a tornado comes.
Right.
Do you think that actually works?
Oh yeah, they have that on the real tornado intercept vehicles. The TIBs, they drill it into the ground to where they don't get blown over.
So
but
cool.
they have real armor on them. So it looked like it had the stock body panels on it, the stock glass, I think, as you saw. So in a tornado, a rock that's pea-sized,
Yeah.
thrown at 150 plus miles an hour, will break through the window and
Yeah.
go right into Tyler, the YouTuber's eye.
Well,
But-
none of the windows broke, which I thought,
Right.
What are they, crazy Gorilla Glass, some weird thing? And I like how you put it. They used
Plot armor.
plot armor to help so no glass would break, so no one got really hurt or cut up or scratched up.
Right.
But I was waiting for the glass to break, and it kind of took me out of the story because I'm like, why isn't this truck's rolling and rolling and rolling over, and the glass isn't breaking? How is that
No,
possible?
I mean, it could be like from like a armor company, and it could be this thick, but it didn't look like it because in the real TIV, they have something that a flap like they put down on top of the windows when they're ready, like they deploy, and it comes down and it blocks everything. You look at Reed Timmer's rig, and they make sure that nothing wind-wise can get underneath the vehicle, so it deploys that so to where, it sort of turns into like a pyramid or like the old Civil War battleships, the Monitor, the Merrimack, where it's like these ironclad looking things. And yeah, it doesn't resemble a Dodge, which I get. That's why they didn't make it into a Dodge. But yeah.
I did learn something where you're not supposed to hide under the underpass if there's a tornado coming, because I just thought that that's what you're supposed to do. But, in the beginning of the movie, you'll see it can actually create some sort of...
You get in the suck zone, as Philip Seymour Hoffman would say. Yes.
Yeah, and it sucks you out because I thought you were supposed to climb under.
So that came from the Andover tornado, which was here in 1991. Right here. There's one 2 years ago that came, I don't know, a stone's throw away from this house. I hadn't bought it yet, but that had gone through. But the big F5 came here in 91, and there's a iconic film where they're saying, get up underneath them girders. Is that where we want to go? Yes. And they climb up, and the tornado blows through.
Right.
It was not a direct hit, though, but it seemed like they were protected, but it's not. So now there's stories of people, just like in this film, which I guess they're probably hoping people don't do it now, where they go up into the girders, where they're basically up in the air, to where the tornado can just... suck them right out, which has happened.
Terrifying.
So you're supposed to just dive into the ditch, a culvert, that kind of thing.
Terrifying as well. Yeah, I just thought everyone had tornado shelters here, and they don't.
Right. So, original Twister versus new Twister.
Original Twister, way better.
Way
Love
better.
stories, which you don't care about at all, but like there's a real story, like in the original one.
The poor woman that was the fiance that just got tossed aside is kind of sad. But as far as hero cars go, to this day, I still want, and we're talking almost 30 years later, I still want that red 2500 V10 Dodge.
Because it drove through a house.
It drove through a house, it sacrificed itself to get the data in the tornado, and it just looks so stinking cool. I don't know what it is about the cinematic shots, because they were so real, and obviously, as far as the the helicopter shots and everything back in the day, like of it leading the caravan of misfits and all that stuff, it just seemed like it was more of a character than the Dodges in this. And I don't know, maybe it's just my nostalgia of almost 30 years later, but I had the model of that truck. I wanted that truck so bad.
Pretty cool.
But back in 1996, you could walk out of the movie theater.
Right.
Like, I'm going to the Dodge showroom and I'm buying this truck. So the base price on a Ram 1500 in 1996, $13,000.
What? That's amazing.
Now, 2,500 would be a little bit more, but I think it was like $17,000.
Right.
You get a fully loaded one like that, obviously a lot more. But when you adjust for inflation, like $13,000 base price, that's like $28,000 today.
Huh.
And what do you think the cost is for a new Ram 1500 today?
gosh.
We're going to the Ram website.
They're really expensive.
Right.
It's like all new trucks are crazy. Like no one can afford them.
Right. So,
I'm gonna say 80 grand.
for a base one?
Or like a super base.
Like a super base. So it's $13,000 for the base ST.
I don't 50.
No, it's $40,275. So
Okay.
yeah, adjusted for inflation in 2024, 13 grand turns out to be like 27, 28 grand.
Right.
So that's where the base price would be if we were at the same levels. But no, we're at $40,000 now for the basic truck. And if you want a TRX like that, white one in the movie,
Of course I do.
$96,000 is the base price. So like, see that truck in the film? Man, I'm going to go out to the showroom and buy that.
Yeah.
How many people? $96,000. Like
No.
the marketing spend, there's no way they're going to get that back because the people going to the theaters, the vast majority, like you have to be in the top 1% to be able to afford a truck, a Dodge truck that is in the film.
It should be tornado proof for that much money
Right.
already. So you like the old one?
I would buy. I want the old one. I still want a 2500 with the orange lights on top and to make like a primitive Dorothy and have it. But yeah, you can't even get a TRX. I guess there's a few left still on the lots left over 2024s. But if you want to order one, it's 2025, The Hemi's gone. The
Right.
Hemi is gone in the Grand Cherokees. The Hemi's gone in the Rams. So you're stuck with the RHO, which is cheaper. It's like $25,000 cheaper for the RHO to get the TRX suspension, but with that new twin turbo straight six Hurricane. And RHO means Rhino, apparently. So
Okay.
we've gone from a T-Rex to a Rhino. What are you doing, Dram? Like, it's 500 horsepower, which is plenty, but you're going backwards from, obviously, what was it, 707, I think? What was it? Really high
Yeah,
on the
well, your
TRX.
friend had one, or
Yes.
has one, right?
Yes, Tyler Potter was sitting next to me, and he brought his Jeep instead of his Ram TRX, which his was white. He had
Right.
the exact one in the film. He could have been the hero truck leaving the theater like, that was the truck in the film, and he didn't bring it. But yeah, everybody was there. It was my birthday party, I suppose,
Yeah.
with what's your name? Jake? Wow. God. Jake was there with Amber, his girlfriend.
Yes.
And yes, Eurasian Bob, Stuart from Van Gogh, like
Yes.
all the familiar faces from my YouTube videos was
Ninja.
there. Ninja was there. Yes,
But
he sat next to
his
us.
BMW kept powering down,
Oh,
so he couldn't
right.
keep the radio going.
That's the big problem, and I feel like the drive-in test is kind of important on how stupid electronics have become. Because
Right.
if you can show up to the drive-in, turn on your radio, and not have any lights on, not have it like time out and shut the car off, not like every time you get out of the car, it shines the brights and ruins the movie for everyone. Like that is a test of how stupid a new car is. And there's a lot of people that like bring these stupid new cars to the drive-in, and like every time they get out the doors, they blanket the screen with light to where you can't
Yeah.
see the movie anymore, or yeah, they just can't
There's
figure out how to
lots
get
of
the radio
shining,
going.
Lots of noises, lots of lights. In
Yes.
the car, there should be like a drive-in movie mode.
Right. Surprisingly, the lyric really good.
Lyric's
Like
really good.
every 30 minutes, I need to like just barely touch the volume because it'll power off automatically. So if I just cycle the volume up and down every 30 minutes or so, I'm fine. Otherwise, I have to turn the car off and on again. No big deal. We took the F-150
Right.
Raptor, the competition, the TRX there, 307,000 miles. Perfect for that. Roll down the windows. And perfect. Yeah, the Ninjas was really bad. It was an X5, and the radio kept turning off automatically, timing out. And yeah, I took the Cybertruck to the drive-in, and it was, as you would expect, pretty annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did not want to stay on, stay running, keep the lights off. I had to fight that screen quite
But
a
they're
bit.
probably
so.
good. Well, not the Cybertruck, but in cars in general, because it was just draining the battery, perhaps, if they're older. So you want them to shut
I suppose, yes. The person right behind us, their battery drained because they had it like all the way on, ignition full on their Chrysler 300, and then when they got jumped off, they crisscrossed it and big spark explosion.
Right.
It was, yeah, that was the after show that was very entertaining. But overall, Twisters, like as far as it's a reboot or a remake or a sequel, I don't know what it is. It stands on its own as a good film, but it in the original just being so epic and yeah,
Right.
30 years of nostalgia goggles, it doesn't even come close. But
Well, and I guess the worst part about the new Twisters was, I mean, it's a nice, heartfelt story that the main actor, Tyler, the YouTuber, who's Glenn Powell, right, in real life, adopted a puppy
Yes.
while he was shooting the film. And if you look at his
Isn't that sweet?
Instagram, you'll see all the photos until.
Oh right, yeah. I saw
saw
April
this
like
one.
like cringe to where she dropped her phone almost, which means some male is doing some supermodel thing that's embarrassing to her. And yeah, I saw it was a pretty cringy like bathroom selfie photo with the puppy, and
You'll hear it.
so you really want to end on that?
Yeah, it's cringy.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for watching, and sorry, yeah.
Please
you
don't
saw.
try that pose at home.
Okay.